Welcome to G3, a video and podcast series from 702 Communications. In this series, we review tech that makes our lives easier and our homes smarter. We also visit with guests from our community who create, share, or use that tech every day. I have a guest here today who blended the power of technology and an entrepreneurial spirit into a successful, well-known local brand. In this episode, I'm joined by Fargo-Moorhead local, the business owner of Jade Presents, Jade Nielsen. Welcome, Jade.
Thank you.
So glad to have you here. We've worked together a little bit before on some projects, but I think this is the first time we've actually met in person.
So. I think you're right.
So it's exciting for me. So for anybody out there who might not know, tell us a little bit about Jade Presents and how you got your start and all that.
I've been doing this for 30 years. Actually 30 years next year. So that dates me a little bit.
Hey, I've been at 702 19, so
okay.
We're not so far.
I actually remember, we'll get to technology, I know, but I remember faxing offers, and a lot of people don't even remember faxing. But
you'd be surprised to know that people still fax.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Who are these people?
Mostly the government, honestly. Mostly if I get a fax, it's a scammer or the government.
Yes, right.
But I've derailed you. Let's get back to you.
No, I've lived in Fargo for many years, and I knew a lot of local bands. And that's really how it started. I was asked to do a benefit show back when I was like 18 or 19 years old. I put together some bands to do a benefit show and raise some money. It went really well, and then from there I started getting phone calls from touring artists, and that's really the beginning. And that was, like I said, almost 30 years ago.
Yeah. So just the one little thing, and then all of a sudden, it started snowballing.
I had always been a music fan.
Yeah.
But I certainly had no knowledge of the music industry or what promoting events really was at that point. But I was very entrepreneurial, even when I was a teenager. So I think it just parlayed into something of interest.
No, very cool, very cool. And now you've got the great Bluestem concert series going on out at Bluestem, and 702 is working with you for Wi-Fi out there, and we're happy to do that. You had a great lineup last summer, and that was well attended.
Yeah, it was good.
This summer, you got another great lineup.
I think it's the best lineup ever.
I don't know that I could disagree with that.
Yeah.
Is there anyone in particular? And I know you don't want to play favorites because, of course, you appreciate all the artists you're bringing in, but anybody you're really looking forward to this summer?
I have to say Robert Plant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mostly because I've been doing this long enough where being able to work with really a legend doesn't happen every day.
Yeah.
So, going back many years, I did shows with Willie Nelson and B.B. King and so on, and those are the events that I really remember. But having Robert Plant part of this Bluestem series to me is a big win.
No, absolutely. That was huge news. I thought too, because you got all these great younger artists that are absolutely fantastic to support. But then when you do get one of those names, one of those really presence guys to come, that really is something special for the community.
We did it a couple of years ago with Tony Bennett, of course. So we've had a few of those, real, American jewels, so to speak, through there. But certainly our goal in what we program at Bluestem is to be very diverse. So, you'll see rock, you'll see, more classic rock like a Robert Plant. Occasionally we'll have country, and we're kind of diverse. Avett Brothers, we're all over the board, and that's sort of the point. The point from the beginning in our relationship with Fargo Public Schools, that of course owns the facility, is very much, a focus of being as diverse and open to as many different audiences as we can.
No, and I do think, not to be too complimentary here, just because you're my guest, but I do think you do a really good job of programming a very diverse lineup. So
thank you.
You've mentioned that you started the company. You've been here for 30 years now. So what is your role in Jade Presents today?
Mostly, there's a couple things. I overlook primarily the booking portion. We now have 3 other booking coordinators that work with me. They're doing the lion's share of the communication and making offers to artists and that sort of thing. I still handle the Bluestem series pretty much exclusively. Certainly have support from a couple of my coordinators as well, but and then just overlooking the day-to-day business. So, when I started, many years ago, and I tell my staff this quite a bit, I did everything. You know, I booked the event, I marketed the event, I was at the event to help produce it. And now obviously it's a little bit more streamlined. I couldn't be at 150 events a year, and not still be married anyway. But I do, you know, I focus on the booking portion more so than marketing and some of those other things now.
Well, and one of the things that you get to do when you become a successful entrepreneur is you get to pick and choose a little bit too about doing more of what you like and less of what you don't. So what really is the most rewarding thing for you working these days?
That's a tough question. I think the most rewarding for me, and probably for the majority of my team, is, you know, programming things in the community that they enjoy. And I think it's a better quality of life based on, you know, entertainment options in the market. So, I mean, I've been stopped, you know, outside grocery stores thanking us for what we do. And to me, that's the biggest thing, you know, just to have like a community member appreciate what we do and what we bring. Excuse me. And I mean, it's a challenging job. So like when you get kind of that pat on the back, to me, that means more than some agent or an artist for that matter, that, you know, we're all about community. We've been here, you know, since day one.
Right on, right on. Is there any technology or any app that you can't live without? Are you super tech guy?
I wouldn't say I'm super tech guy. You know, I do, I mean, because I am on my phone quite a bit, you know, I do use like a Mophie battery pack. And you know, I went to this a couple of years ago because I consistently would have my phone go dead. Especially if you're on an event and you're doing a lot of walking and so on, you don't have the opportunity to plug things in. That's one. I mean, I always have my laptop with me. I mean, I'm sure it's in my car right now, even though I didn't need it. iPad. I mean, constantly, that sort of communication is the big thing for a promoter, because we're constantly back and forth. I mean, I'll be off this weekend, so to speak, but I'll still be responding to emails and those sort of things. So I don't think there's really, I have a little bit of a problem with Instagram. Where
an Instagram problem, huh?
But beyond, I mean, nothing that I would say that like I can't live without, you know. I'm very well connected in those ways. But.
So when you rely on your technology, your phone to do your job as much as you do, as much as I do, you know, I find myself often just wanting to, when I'm unwinding, put it away. Is there, you mentioned Instagram, but is there something that your gadget really lets you or helps you relax, or something that you really like to use technology for when you're relaxing or when you're unplugged?
I don't know.
Are you like one of those guys who just, when it's over, you're gonna put that phone away from the day?
I think that's it. I think that I just need to like push that stuff off to the side and not do it.
Totally get that.
Get on a motorcycle or go for a drive or whatever the case may be, and not be connected.
So is there any tech that's not quite out there yet, or anything that's on the horizon that you're looking forward to for tech, or anything you wish that were invented?
Gosh, that's a tough question too. Nothing I can think of. You know, bouncing back to kind of our business though, there are a couple of app developers that are developing things specifically for concert promoters and the entertainment industry. And we're in our office just kind of gravitating towards a program now that will kind of streamline our whole communication process. I would almost call, you know, probably similar to Slack in such a way, in a sort of a communication way that allows us to kind of take all the details from an event, which, as you might imagine, is pretty elaborate amount of details, and basically compress that into one format that a number of people have access to. So we're certainly looking at those, and there are a fair amount of industry-based developers that are developing either programs or apps for that sort of service.
Cool. So it's really interesting that you mentioned Slack. In a previous episode, we were talking about Slack. 702 uses Slack internally.
Okay, good.
So it's interesting to see, you know, across business lines, you know, that something like that is something that we both can use. And you know, for us, you know, we, like you say, for a repository, to keep information, to keep files, to keep communications between multiple teams. I mean, that's been great, and it has to have really changed the way that you guys do business to have a tool like that.
Well, think about it, like, you know, an event basis, you're constantly sharing information, you know, probably like most businesses, but booking is sharing stuff with the marketing team, with the business team, with the production team, and all those folks, and all the emails back and forth can get a little endless. So the idea, you know, when Bill brought it up to me, you know, we tried it out, and for me, it's like, I'm not a great communicator to begin with. I'll be the first to admit to that. So I always kind of gravitate to a couple other people in my office and say, hey, try this. Let's see if it really helps everybody share information and be able to kind of document things and be able to go back and look at it in a much easier format than email. Or instant messaging or something, which, you know, is a different animal. So we implemented it probably 3 or 4 months ago. Initially, just for certain projects we were doing, and now I think we're using it in a number of different ways. So, you know, I have other business interests as well, and so we'll have different channels, and have a different channel, I believe is what the terminology would be, for another business, and I can just go back and forth and see what's going on.
As your attention is needed.
Absolutely.
And then you've got the appropriate team responding. So, no, that's great, and you know, it's stuff like that, right? People maybe don't think of concert promoters needing a tool like Slack, but people maybe don't think of internet service providers needing a tool like Slack either. So it's that stuff that we all just need to be aware of and to make our jobs easier. So we talked about a lot of stuff today. Where can our watchers, listeners go to learn more about anything upcoming with Jade Presents?
Sure. Well, jadepresents.com is where, you know, we basically list all of our events. Bluestempamphitheater.org is another one, which is where obviously we hold all of the Bluestem information, including some archives of past seasons and that sort of thing. And then social media as well for both of those, and our app. Download the app, Jade Presents app, available for what
iOS
app? Android.
Everywhere. So get that. Well, Jade, it's been interesting.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming by.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate that. Guys, that's a wrap for this episode of G3. I hope you liked it. If you did, let us know. Comment on the video, like, share, subscribe, and tell all your friends about us, because we've got some great content coming up. And don't forget to check out my guest appearances on Valley News Live's North Dakota Today, where I'll dive into more of my favorite tech. Until next time, I'm Brian Cromit, and this is G3.